Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Holistic Northwest Living. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with your host, as always, Amber McKenzie. Amber?
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Hey, everybody. Yes, good. Hey, awesome. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about CBD.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound like a good topic?
Yeah, it's super popular right now.
Yeah, it really is.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we've got a guest. We've got a guest to actually speak some truth into the world of CBD.
Yes, we have Michael Pickens of North Spokane Hemp Company, which is on Division on the north side of Spokane.
Nice.
And so we're really excited to have him here today.
Awesome. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you a Northwest native? Like, where are you from originally?
Originally was born and raised in the Central Valley in California.
Okay.
A farm town called Turlock.
Wow,
so
yeah.
I left Washington about 2011.
Got it.
I got tired of the heat down there. The summers, July, August is 110, you know.
Oh,
yeah, not fun.
Not fun.
Seriously. Amber, how did you meet Michael?
Michael is an advertiser in Natural Awakenings, and he is also a new member of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. He and Danielle has been to, I think she's been to 2 meetings now, and she's awesome. So we're excited to have them as part of our group, our networking group.
Nice.
Yep.
I love it. I'll let you, Amber, sort of lead the interview here because as much as I may have questions that I'll throw in, I would love to hear where you want to go.
Sure.
Michael.
Yeah, sounds good. So thank you again, Michael, for being here with us. And so I think we want to hear more about your store, of course. But actually what I'm really curious about is how did you become so interested and so passionate about CBD? I'd love to hear that story.
Sure. It actually goes way back. When I was 11 years old, back in 1995, both of my grandmothers were diagnosed with cancer. My mom's mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. My dad's mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, I remember them as being very strong women, right? My mom's mom was an immigrant from the Philippines. Her husband fought in World War II, earned his citizenship, and they moved here. My dad's family had a farm and a dairy. They were strong women, right? I remember them as being strong. And as they were diagnosed with cancer, they were put on chemotherapy and radiation, and they started to become weak. Both of my parents worked, and my grandmas were my babysitters, and I remember them, becoming weak. I remember them having to run to the bathroom, throw up, their hair starting to fall out, just looking emaciated. And towards the end, they ended up getting jaundice, which is yellowing of the eyes because the liver isn't functioning anymore. And on Thanksgiving of that year, about 6 months after they were diagnosed with cancer, they both passed away.
Oh, wow.
Within like 6 hours of each other. So you can imagine what a horrible Thanksgiving that was.
Wow. Yeah. No kidding.
Yep. But later in life, my late teens, early 20s, I was just very interested in learning more. Right. And I got into smoking cannabis at a young age at 15. Right. And then learning that there was, information out there that was kind of being suppressed by the government, being suppressed by the pharmaceutical industry. And I just learned that there could be another way. And finding out so many people who go through cancer and think their only option is chemotherapy and radiation, I just wanted to get the information out there that there's more than that. And finding out that cancer is not just a disease, but it's an industry that's attached to this disease. Like the industry itself and the treatment for one person over the course of the year on average costs $108,000. That's a lot of money.
Wow.
And it could be more, could be a little bit less, but the industry as a whole brings in around $1 billion a year. This is huge. So there's a huge industry attached to cancer. The average oncologist, cancer doctor makes $260,000 a year. You've got executives pulling in upwards of $500,000 a year, right? Even more than that. And I just feel that we need to get this information out there so we can kind of break that industry to whereas these organizations, these research organizations are basically saying that there's no other option for people. American Cancer,
then chemo?
Then chemo and radiation, right? American Cancer Society on their website says they're not taking a position on the legalization of marijuana for medical purposes because they need more scientific research on its benefits and harms. Like saying that they don't want to legalize it because they need more research, but because it's Schedule 1, the research isn't available. It just doesn't really make sense. If they were really interested in curing cancer, they'd say, we need to legalize all ethanogenic substances, all natural plants, and start testing, right? They need to do this. But pharmaceutical companies can't make money on natural products. The money's just not there. They can't patent it, right? Wow. The Cancer Research Foundation in the United Kingdom, on their website, it says, we do not advise patients to use cannabis oil or any alternative therapies to treat cancer. Like,
that's
this
interesting.
It's on their website.
I usually think of the UK as a little bit more, free-spirited, open-minded, liberal about that type of thing, but that's interesting.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, like universal healthcare, it's great. It sounds great on the front, but if they're only restricting it to certain treatments, yes, we will treat everyone, but everyone's getting chemotherapy and radiation. That's not really going to help the problem, right? Yeah. They've got to look at solutions. Now, universal healthcare, with every solution available, right? Any solution that someone wants to use, that right there is attractive. That's something that I can get behind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
right.
How did you find, or have you found certain studies or information on CBD and cannabis as it relates to cancer? So we've talked about what radiation and chemo does, but have we found stuff on the other side?
So there's a website called projectcbd.org. And this website actually has listed all the scientific studies, or not all because there's so many of them out there, but the scientific studies on CBD, on cannabis, on THC, and they're starting to come out with new ones on CBG, CBN, CBC, the other cannabinoids that are in this full spectrum oil that kind of gives the entourage of all the different effects that a patient may need. Wow. So projectcbd.org, we're endorsed by them. We have testing, third-party testing on all of our products. This is something I'm very passionate about. Not only that, but our pricing compared to our competition in the area is much lower as well, and even on the internet. So I really went into this wanting to help people and provide them a product at a much cheaper rate, lowering the profit margin so patients can actually afford this stuff. And it's really cool having people come in that are getting off of $1,000 of prescription drugs, and they're able to save money. There's a nurse that comes in that her doctor doesn't even know that she's using it, and she just keeps getting the prescriptions, but she's not taking them, But there's a fear out there as well, because these, doctors, they don't want really, I can't speak for all of them because there are some good doctors out there, but there's some of them that look at it as a threat.
Sure.
Because if a patient can come into a store and get a product for $100 that's going to help them versus have to go through $100,000 chemotherapy treatment, that's a big difference. And they're going to lose money. And there's a lot of people and their jobs dependent on this industry that has been built up over the years. Heck, look at the advertising that's out there. When Breast Cancer Awareness Month comes around, you got Kentucky Fried Chicken with their pink buckets of fried chicken. You got Coca-Cola with pink, ribbons on their cans, and if you look at the funding that comes into these research foundations, the primary funding, big pharmaceutical companies, big ag companies, big biotech companies, they're not in it to help people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We call that pink washing, right? Or, we saw that a lot in the environmental space where you could greenwash stuff, and you talk about how it's green. And now you see a lot of that with the cancer awareness stuff. And it's hilarious that there's, I don't know how much Coca-Cola is donating to cancer research with pink bottles of Coke, but it's interesting to think about the correlations between sugar and cancer, right?
Oh, yeah. Cancer feeds on it. It feeds on sugar.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
So Michael, your store in North Spokane has been, it's called North Spokane Hemp Company. It's been open since October 2019. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like, what do you offer in your store? I know you said you offer a lot of a variety of products that are third-party tested. Could you describe those products and what it means to be third-party tested?
Sure. Yeah. So I was in the black market cannabis industry in California when I came up to Washington. It was because legalization was on the precipice, right? And I got into the cannabis industry. I've been in it since the beginning up here in Washington, representing other brands on the recreational side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to go on the retail CBD side because I wanted to focus on the medicinal benefits. There are medicinal benefits to THC. I'm not going to deny that. But if our products won't get people high, right? Our products are for someone that wants to come in and wants to heal and get better and not have the brain fog or not have that couch lock feeling that comes with consuming THC. Or there's some people who get adverse effects to it, like anxiety or paranoia. You know, I'm in that category. If I smoke something that has high THC, it's just like, oh, you know, like you're like too much thinking inside your head, right? And you start getting anxiety. So our products here have very low amounts of THC. Everything is required to have less than 0.3% THC. So there's a couple different products that we have in here that are full spectrum products. And what full spectrum products are what I believe brings the healing, you know, circle complete, right? Because it has all the cannabinoids and it has the terpenes and everything else. And we get products directly from Colorado, and we have a product line that comes directly now from Montana. So we're getting it direct from the grower, which also helps with costs and price to the consumer because we can charge less, where other companies, you know, they've got middlemen along the process and along the way that are, you know, making their cuts. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it just is what it is, right? So those full spectrum products are what I believe puts the body back in homeostasis so we can heal itself. In regards to cancer, cancer is when the cells become mutated or deformed or damaged, the DNA becomes damaged and they start multiplying and growing at an exponential rate, and it creates that tumor, right? And that tumor starts growing. Now, what they're finding with a full spectrum CBD oil, with some of the studies on CBD, projectcbd.org, is that either the CBD or some of the other cannabinoids in there are stopping the procreation of those damaged cells. So it's not killing off damaged cells, it's just stopping them from growing. So what happens over time, that tumor shrinks as those cells die and they're not being replaced. So they're finding out that's the science behind it. So, and there's a lot more to it. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but there are other doctors that are talking about this. If you go on YouTube and you type in cannabis cured my cancer, there's thousands of videos. There's doctors that are talking. There are patients, people who have used cannabis oil that are talking about their experiences, right? There's a ton of websites set up. And then there's a ton of websites saying that it's a scam, that it's a fraud, that it's snake oil. And there's that too, right? But what I say to people is that, you know, you have nothing to lose if you try it. You know, if you're not feeling well, try it and see if it makes you feel better. You know, if it doesn't work, at least you try it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So
what's a typical dose? Like if I came into your store and I was wanting to try it out, am I going to get drops, or are you going to direct me to some type of topical? And then how much do I take? How long do I take it? Like, how does that work?
it all depends on what you're coming in here for. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but if you're coming in here for pain, I'm going to recommend a full spectrum. Now, it depends on how strong the pain is, whether I recommend a 500 milligram, which is a really low dose, or a 3,000 milligram, which is a really high dose. You know, people who've come in with MS and arthritis, right? They're taking the 3,000 milligrams and they're feeling fantastic and they're getting off medication. And, you know, they're doing great and they're coming back. You know, and they're sharing it with their friends and other people who are having some of the same issues, right? So
yeah,
it just depends. If it's pain that's towards the skin, I'd recommend a topical, right? If it's a skin issue, obviously recommend a topical. It just depends on what you're coming in for.
Got it.
Now, and as far as the third-party testing, so what is that doing? Because I know that all CBD shops, it seems, are required to have some testing. Tell me more about what that entails and what that means.
Yeah, so there's multiple aspects to the testing. One of them is the purity of the product. So when it says it has 1,500 milligrams of CBD, it has 1,500 milligrams at least of CBD, right? One of the products we have, it says 1,500, but it tests at 1,800. right? So it's got more. As long as it has more than what it says on there, then we know that the purity is good, right? Or the potency, excuse me, not purity. And the next part is the purity, right? Making sure there's no heavy metal toxins, making sure there's no pesticides that are in it, right? Because there's a lot of people growing hemp out there for medical use. And if they're growing it outdoor, they may not be using pesticides, but there may be spray over, right? From another farm. So got to test that and make sure that there isn't any concentrated pesticides. And we actually have had products that have come in and we sent it out to the lab and the lab came back and said, oh, it failed on these 2 pesticides. And it's like, oh, pack it up, ship it back out, right? Because if it's got pesticides, we don't want to sell it. It's just going to hurt people, right? It goes against our mission, right?
So you'll test it. Sorry, Amber, go ahead.
No, go. Well, I was just going to say, so it sounds like your mission, and maybe you can give us your mission as well, but it sounds like education is huge for you. And then making sure that you have the highest quality products. How many different kind of products do you carry in your store?
We have a lot of different categories. So we've got tinctures, we've got bath bombs, we've got smokable flower, we've got terpene blends, we've got mushroom terpene blends, we've got menstrual products, we've got a nasal spray. Like we've got a pretty wide variety, and we're bringing new stuff in. It seems like every week. Like we've got teas coming in.
Wow.
So, yeah, like we're trying to diversify to be able to offer more to the consumer. So.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead, Chris.
I think I was just gonna say, so when you get the product in, you're sending it off. Your store in North Spokane is sending it off to get tested. It's not like it's tested before it gets to you. You guys are actually taking the role or the initiative to go out and test it before you sell it.
Yeah, so some of the product, most of it, actually all of it comes in with testing. There is testing on it, but like the testing where we sent it back out for other testing, it didn't have any of the pesticides or heavy metal testing. So they sent it in without that. Yeah, sure. So we, went and checked on it and it didn't pass. So.
Wow. That's cool. Is it all like, does it all have a flavor? Like the stuff you would take orally, or is it?
Yeah. So there's the stuff with flavor. It's all natural organic flavoring that's added to it, but there is some with flavor. There's some without flavor. Yeah. So in the stronger versions, like the 1500s, the 2000, the 3000, they're pretty potent, and it tastes like cannabis oil. You can taste it. You know what I mean? There's a strong taste to it. So the flavor helps, but it doesn't mask it completely.
Yeah. Got it. So. Any being that you've been in the industry for a while, any hacks or tips on best ways to consume it?
Yeah. So what I recommend is how I use it on a daily basis. I use a 1500. I used to do construction back in the day and set tile. So I'd be on my knees. It was about 3 years of my life that I did this. And I've had this persistent lower back pain ever since I did that. And since I've started CBD on a regimen, I take half a milliliter in the morning, half a milliliter in the evening. That right there just gets rid of the pain. I don't feel it at all. Wow. And I'm up at 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm asleep at 10 p.m. and I'm working throughout the day, and I just don't feel the pain anymore.
So do you take it with anything? Like, are you throwing it in a protein shake, or are you just straight up putting it right in your mouth? Like, how do you take it?
Right under the tongue.
Under the tongue. That's what they say.
Yeah. So you want to take it right under the tongue, and you want to hold it there for about a minute. And then swallow it down. So it goes sublingually right into the bloodstream. And then you swallow it and it keeps going through your system.
Got it.
So,
and Michael, when I went into your store that first time, because I went in to check it out and it was really cool. I loved all the products that you had. You guys were giving free samples, which was awesome. And I got a free sample of the Pineapple Express. And I loved it. So then I, of course, had to buy some. But that was a really good one. So do you do free samples then for people when they come in?
Yeah. So if they're curious in a product and they don't want to spend the $45 or the $100 on it, try it out. Mm-hmm. Again, we get people come in for pain and they try the sample, and 5-10 minutes later, they're like, oh, I feel so much better. And then they buy it.
Yeah,
right.
Makes sense. And I know you have stuff for keeping awake and feeling like, because that's what the Pineapple Express is, right? It's kind of like I feel kind of awake, alive.
Yeah.
And then you have stuff for sleeping as well. What would you say is like, and pain and all of the things, but what would you say is kind of your most popular? Like, what do people come in for most often, would you say?
So of the terpene blends, there's really two of them that are the most popular. Slumber is by far the most popular. There's 4 different terpenes along with 500 milligrams of CBD in it as well. And what it does, it's designed to help you get into REM sleep quickly. So, and I'm sure you understand, REM sleep is where your body heals, right? It's the deepest level of sleep. And when your body is healing, you know, you may not get a whole lot of sleep. It may not extend your sleep, but you're going to wake up rested, right? You're going to wake up feeling good and ready to take on the day. So we've actually had people say that, but they say they've been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, wide awake, ready to, you know, get going.
Oh, wow.
And then realizing they're having to take it later in the evening.
Yeah.
They're getting such good sleep that they're waking up earlier and like wide awake. All right, ready to take on the day.
That's awesome.
And then the second most popular blend we have is called Serene. And that really helps with anxiety and depression and just, you know, gives you that calm feeling. So that one's super popular as well.
I should ask you, Amber, like, what did you like about the Pineapple Express? What was that all about?
You know, I think that I just felt really, it's almost like I just felt really more enthusiastic, more exuberant.
What, for you? How is that possible? Come on.
That's why I loved it so much, because I was like, wow. And I don't know what it was, but it gave me like a really positive boost. I guess that's how I could describe it.
Yeah.
And so I just felt great. And then when I took it in the mornings, that's when I took it, is in the mornings, I just woke up more, I felt more alive, more happy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
And I don't have problems sleeping. Otherwise I probably would have gotten the slumber as well. Yeah.
How soon did you notice, Amber, when you took the sample?
I mean, I was in the store. I was because they gave me some in the store, and I sat and talked to them for another 10 minutes. And 10 minutes later, I was like, wow, I feel really good. And I think whoever was helping me, maybe it was you, Michael, was like, oh yeah, that Pineapple Express is really good for, you know, just getting that energy, feeling energized.
Yeah.
Michael, could you do like I'm trying to biohack here. I'm like, can I get the boost in the morning with a Pineapple Express and then go into slumber in the evening? Or is that just too much CBD and terpenes in my body?
I don't think so. You know, the research that's out there right now show no negative effects from taking CBD. And I don't see that, because when I wake up in the morning, I'm either taking our Solace blend, which is our daytime, you know, get going, which is very similar to Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
And then with the nootropic or the focus blend, you know, so I can really get into the day quickly.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, about half an hour before 10 o'clock, around 9:30, I take the slumber. And then when 10 o'clock runs around.
I love this for like, if you think about how we've done it as humans for decades, I think we use coffee in the morning to stimulate our minds, and we use alcohol in the evenings to bring us down. And we have this like, you know, it's not very holistic, or it's not very healthy. It's not very good for you, I don't think.
Yeah. The coffee and the alcohol combination, it makes your body really acidic.
Yeah, right.
It's not good for healing, and it actually promotes growth of cancer because cancer is an anaerobic disease, which means it thrives in low oxygen environments. And and that's what that acidity does. It doesn't, you know, it pushes away the absorption rate for your oxygen, which is not good.
Yeah, really good. So this is super interesting. I would imagine if people wanted to learn more about your store, Michael, they could come in and actually have this kind of conversation with you. And
definitely.
Talk more about it. What's the right fit for them, et cetera.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm not in here every day of the week, but I'm in here a lot of the time. And we have a lot of informational pamphlets, Project CBD. They've given us a bunch of their brochures, and they've just got a ton of resources on their website. And then we have our website as well. Not as many resources, but we do have our products there.
I love it. So good. If people want to learn more about your store, how do they reach you? Do they go to your website? Do they come into the store?
Yeah, so they can go to our website, northspokanecbd.com, and our address is there, 9323 North Division Street. We're right next to Jazzercise, so that's always fun. We always got their music in the background bumping.
Bumping Jazzercise. I like it.
Yeah, and then we're also doing classes now. We've got the back of our store. We could fit about 30 people, but we're doing educational classes on CBD. Tonight, we've got a class on medicinal mushrooms being taught by Dr. Kyle Varner. He's one of the good doctors. He actually has a book coming out called White Coat Cartels, the dark side of the U.S. healthcare market.
Yeah.
So he's a practicing hospitalist. So that means he travels around to different hospitals that aren't doing so well, and he helps them. So he's been able to see like the underbelly of all the kickbacks and the payoffs and all the pharmaceutical stuff and their influence over the whole healthcare market. So his book is going to be coming out soon. So I'm really interested.
Yeah, it's a good shout out for him, for White Coat Cartels.
Yeah.
So northspokanecbd.com.
Yep.
And I imagine your address is on there. So if they didn't pick that up as you said it, they can go to northspokanecbd.com, grab the address there, and come into your store for a sample.
And you know what? If they're listening and they're not in the area, they could use the discount code medical30 on our website, and they'll end up getting 30% off and free shipping.
Wow. Killer.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, we want to just help people as much as possible.
Love it. Good stuff, Michael. Thank you. Amber, if people want to reach out to you about the Holistic Chamber of Commerce or about your Natural Awakenings magazine, how do people reach you?
They would go to Holistic Northwest Living. I almost forgot. holisticnorthwestliving.com, and Northwest is spelled out. So holisticnorthwestliving.com, and then you'll be directed where you need to go, whether it's joining the Holistic Chamber of Commerce or learning more about Natural Awakenings, or any of those things.
I love it. Really good.
Yeah.
Great episode today. This is a fascinating industry, fascinating. I love all the stuff that's coming out about how it helps the body. So as far as holistic goes, this is really good.
There's one more thing that I like to talk about if I can.
Sure. Send us out on a good note here.
Yeah. So we're running a local initiative called Decriminalize Spokane with the goal to decriminalize all entheogenic plants, which means that anything it's natural, that is spiritual, right? So peyote, ayahuasca, psilocybin, and obviously cannabis, right? So there's an epidemic, a homeless epidemic that's out there that's really a mental health epidemic, right? And right now these people in the streets are being prescribed very powerful psychotropic drugs that aren't healing them, right? It's not healing them through the process. And there's a lot of studies out there showing that psilocybin and cannabis and other substances like this can help heal PTSD, can help heal trauma, right? The things that are causing these people to not be able to focus and get their lives together, right? So we're looking to take a more holistic approach versus a political or authoritarian top-down approach to the homeless issue. So Decriminalize Spokane is what it's called. There's obviously going to be more. We've got a Facebook page up, but the website's being worked on. We're just getting it started. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Yeah, really cool. Love it. Good stuff. Good episode. Well, thanks so much for being here, Michael. All the best to you, Amber. Another great episode. And until next time, take care.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. See ya.